So this is the Old Testament, all the golden calves. This is the uncircumcised heart, and that is the sick, unregenerated heart that can't hear or see or know how to let God lead. And yet, you can understand it if you look at it from God's always moving the marker, although the people themselves move like turtles, barely like turtles, okay? But a lot of it has to do with their spiritual age. And I said yesterday in Exodus how they're like toddlers. By the end of the Old Testament, their spiritual age was 13 or 14. And yet throughout the Old Testament, God mentions the word, it's about the heart, 722 times it's in the Old Testament, the heart. Because again, why is the heart so important? Because he's going to judge by the heart. And man thinks it knows best how to lead. So man never has their heart uncircumcised. So they're truly, even if they say that they believe in God, they if their heart hasn't been uncircumcised, then they don't know him. All they can do is say it's about the book, which is what they did in the Old Testament. Yet I was thinking about this because it's in the Old Testament that the air and the wind and the spirit and the breath is there. And so I was seeking God about this because I thought, well, what if, the people in the Old Testament had been seeking God, yes, we know we're separated from you, God. We know we have to go through the prophet. But what if they had just on their own been seeking him? Like, yes, I know I can't hear you, God, because I don't have the spirit of you in me yet. I don't even know about that yet. I just know you give your spirit to certain people. But I wondered, if God would have poured it out. I think maybe he would have. Maybe. But they had to seek him. However, that said, they weren't spiritually at an age, because a toddler isn't going to understand that. And even a 13 or 14-year-old, they're thinking about their kingdom or what they're going to, they're thinking about all sorts of things, even in today's age, few really seek God. In order to have the uncircumcised heart, you have to seek him. It's not just about being baptized. And yet, people have wondered for a long time, why does God still let the beast have control? And, well, because we continually choose the beast. We don't choose God. I mean, there's many people in this religion, most especially, but in Christianity in general, that think they choose God, but they don't. They don't make him the priority. They don't. They place their foot in the wicked one's kingdom and in God's, and then say, "Oh, see, I follow God." And then you have that religion of Paul. And Paul wasn't. I'm not trying to say all of his. It's just, again, it's about knowing. It's about knowing the Spirit of God, having it here. And yet you can see over history how there's been slow, very slow, turtle-like slow maturity that's moved. Okay, it's gotten a little better and better. But then yet Charlie Kirk, Doug Wilson, Mark Driscoll, Turning Point, most of the White House staffers, I mean, really at this point the White House in general, okay, that really don't want to speak the truth, because it's like, they're just about, I believe in God, and they think that's all it's about. And yet it's like, but this problem is all over the world. I mean, it's far worse than it ever was in the Old Testament. So they push the Charlie Kirks out there. They push the people out there that aren't truly have the uncircumcised heart, that aren't truly about God, but are there to just deceive you, okay? And maybe even deceive themselves, although I think Charlie Kirk knew who he served. And so I have no respect for the people that continually push Erica Kirk and Charlie Kirk. I don't. They can go to all their black tie events. They can have their classiness that they think they're oh so special. I don't care. Okay? Like at this point, to me, it's like, if all you're going to do is talk God every once in a while from your lips, but you don't want to speak the truth about this stuff, then you're either too weak or you serve another agenda. And I've tried so hard to be like, okay, God, there's just people that are spiritually immature, right? Except that God sees it as, no, you're at a mature age now. This is a choice being made at this point. After Jesus, it was a choice. And man chose to stay in the hardened heart. And they chose to be led astray. And as they continued to choose the beast and failed to see around them that the beast was everywhere, and failed to speak up about it, then God lets the beast run. But that serves most men. So Charlie Kirk pushes, that women should take a lesson from Mary. No, they should take a lesson from God. That's what he hated. Because more women submit to God than will submit to man. And Charlie Kirk didn't like that. And yet, you can see all the people that don't like that. They think that he's some saint and want to build idols up of him now, all because they are controlled and influenced by the wicked one. All because they don't, and in some cases, they don't want their heart uncircumcised. Because, see, if your heart's uncircumcised, then you're going to do the work of God. You're not going to do the work of yourself. This is man. Because this is no different than the Old Testament. They're just bigger now. Because when you look into what the uncircumcised heart is, it's a rebellious heart. A rebellious heart that leads to idolatry. That's what it is. But when you're truly seeking God, he's going to chip away at the heart of stone. Most men, and maybe even women too, Erica Kirk being a perfect example of that doesn't want to be led by God, nor does the media, nor does the country. Do you have certain people that truly are seeking God? I think so. Yeah, I do. But, the people in the biggest of positions that could have an influence and speak the truth about this bullshit don't. So to me, it's like, okay, well, just, you do you. Do your black tie events and give all your golden awards away. And prior to the original sin, Adam and Eve were given dominion. So the problem is, in the Old Testament, God didn't tell man to rule over them. But because he warned Eve it would happen, because now man wants to be God instead of follow God, you both have this hardened heart. So that's what's led to this hierarchy. Jesus came to destroy the hierarchy. But for the Roman Empire, for mankind, they want the patriarch. They want the hierarchy because they don't want to serve God. They just want to say they serve God while they do the very opposite of what God wishes. Which is why Erica Kirk will be given a platform. Does she follow God? No, she doesn't know him. Did Charlie Kirk know God? No. No. Does Turning Point? No. Nobody that has a big platform that speaks like they know God knows God. Because as long as the people themselves continue to choose to not follow God and seek him then you live under the beast's kingdom.